My name's Todd Bruce, retired fire captain. I'm here in front of one of my engineers' house, Keith Mellor. We worked together for about 8 years, along with Bill Eckwall. Two great guys, awesome firemen, but we also had a lot of fun. We're hoping to be able to capture some of their stories, hear some jokes. These two guys worked together for a long time. When I joined them, they had 50 years of experience together. So we want to try to capture some of their calls that they went on, some of the events that happened to them. They spent a lot of time on vacation together, hunting and fishing, and they just have got a way of being able to tell stories and interact with each other that is entertaining. When Keith started back in the early 60s, it was two guys, sometimes even just one himself on a fire engine, and he had to do everything. Now you've got an entire engine company, you've got truck companies that are coming in behind you. The fire service has changed drastically, so what we'd like to do is try to capture how these guys did the job back then. Having a better appreciation to what they did. They worked hard, they knew their job, but I think the best part with these two guys was that they had fun. They had fun doing it. The whole time we worked together, it was nothing but laughter, jokes, and a lot of fun. This is firefighter engineer Bill Eckwall. What?
Paramedic.
Oh, gosh. Firefighter engineer paramedic Bill Eckwall. And firefighter engineer Keith Mellor. I had the distinct pleasure to be their captain for about 8 years. We worked together at Redwood Fire Station, Santa Clara County Fire Department. And I just wanted to have this opportunity to grab some of your stories, let you guys talk a little bit to, the future firefighters or people, whoever, about what it was like being a firefighter when you guys started. Keith, you started first in
1963, yeah.
63.
I came down from Oakland, wanted to get out of the city, and a friend of mine was working for Santa Clara County, and their headquarters still is in Morgan Hill at the time. So I went down there and took a firefighter exam. You walked in, and they just interviewed you, an oral interview. And then I was back working on my uncle's ranch about a week later, and I get a call from my dad and says, "They want you to come work for forestry in Morgan Hill." So I had to boogity-boo all the way from Wyoming to get down to Morgan Hill, and then got to Morgan Hill, and the first place they assigned me was Coyote Fire Station, which is about 10-15 miles from Morgan Hill.
Was there anything out there by then? What was out there?
The reservoir.
Reservoir. So you're just
Coyote Reservoir.
Okay.
And there was a fire station at the back of the reservoir.
Yeah.
So walked in, didn't have a lick of training, nothing. You young kid, scared shitless. So I met the crew. Here's your bed. Here's where we eat. About half-hour bingo. The bell goes off. What do I do now? Get on the back and hang on.
You're riding tailboard back then.
Yeah, riding tailboard. What do I do? Put the wet stuff on the red stuff. And anything else I tell you to do.
Anything else.
Howard Wright. And I go, okay, no problem. Got on, went to a fire, I think it was out of Pacheco Pass, just a running grass fire. Jumped out, got the nozzle, was nozzle man, played nozzle man. First thing you learn, and Toddy, your dad knows that, is stay in the burned area. That's the first thing out of he was a foreman at the time.
Right, they didn't have captains, they were foremen.
Foremans, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Stay in the burned area. So that was a big lesson learned right away. But didn't take many of those lessons until you found out.
So
you fight fire from the burned area.
So you were working as a seasonal then?
Seasonal firefighter, yeah.
Okay. And how many seasons did you put down in Coyote Valley?
Just one.
Just one.
In Coyote.
Okay. Then you came back the next year.
No, I didn't even come back the next year. I said, well, I want to make forestry my career, or fire department. So I started checking around, and I wanted to get a little bit of college under my belt. So I found out about Lassen College, and they offered a junior program for firefighting. So I went up to Lassen College, me and a buddy, and started going to school at Lassen College. And while I was going to school at Lassen, I worked for the Forest Service. This was all part-time.
Okay.
Forest Service, BLM, and Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Wow.
Just all part-time.
Okay.
But I loved it, you know. Probably would have done it for nothing. But I'm glad I didn't. So anyhow, then I took the engineer's test, come back to forestry as an engineer. Worked out at Alma Station as an engineer.
And what year was that?
About 1967.
Okay, so you landed at Alma Fire Station in 1967
Right.
for the fire season. Okay.
Well, no, this was a full-time position.
Oh, this was a full-time position.
Yeah, an engineer was a full-time position.
All right. How many engines were you running out of there then?
They were running two.
Okay.
One was the Alma Fire District. They contracted to forestry,
Okay.
and they had a tanker, about 1,000-gallon tanker.
Back then, a tanker had wheels.
Yeah.
Right now, a
It was a
tanker
tank
has
with-
wings.
It was a tank with wheels on it. So we ran that and worked there. Went back out to Coyote for a little bit during the summer, but that's when I started full-time fire department, about 1967.
Okay.
Didn't you work Alma Fire in the wintertime by yourself?
Yeah, I worked Alma Fire during the winter because they had Cal Fire had a contract with the Alma Fire District, which was the fire district for up in that mountainous area. So that's the only reason we stayed on. We wouldn't be able to stay on because nobody paid the salary.
Right.
But Alma picked it up and paid for one engineer and one firefighter.
Okay.
So it was me and Tom Tarp for the winter.
So you two running one engine
Running one engine.
and up Highway 17
All
into
the
the mountains.
17, all the mountainous area from Los Gatos on.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Now, that was before Highway 17 had a center divider.
Correct. Some
Tell us-
terrible accidents.
Tell us a little bit about.
We had, I think it was 1 month, we had like 6 head-ons, 3 or 4 fatalities. And we weren't even trained in medical services at the time. You just showed up with basically Band-Aids, the first aid kit, and started helping people as best you could.
Walking wounded.
Walking wounded, until you got into, training you to be a more medical-oriented fire department.
Oh.
So,
Were there? I, for some reason, remember stories that there was times when you were the only one on the engine.
yeah.
Okay, so
You were there was C shift, or not AC shift, but it was A and B, and if you were on B, the guys that were working 8-hour days, they go off at 5. So until you got a sleeper, another firefighter, which was Tom Tarp, he come on at about 8, 9 o'clock. So you didn't have anybody with you from 5 till 9 o'clock. And many a time I went out with just me on the engine. They had a new engine, but
Did you give yourself orders?
yeah, I was always good at that. Whether I took them or not.
God damn it, go get that hose. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm refusing that order.
Use that order from myself. So, I remember.
All right.
And that's how I stayed on during the winter. And then one winter, they sent me up to San Mateo County. And a lot of guys from down in Santa Clara County to stay on during the winter. They went to San Mateo County, out on Tower Road, where the juvenile hall is. And they contracted with San Mateo County to hire people during the winter.
Okay. Wow.
And
I didn't
it
know
was-
that.
Yeah, there was like 7 or 8 of us that were all engineers.
Was it 68, 69?
Yeah,
70?
68, 69, something like that.
No. All right. And then so you continued that until the early 70s when Alma Fire District was consolidated with Santa Clara County Central, right? Is that
Right, yeah.
which was about what year?
1970.
70, I think it was 70.
That's what it was on the front of the station.
Okay.
You remember that little
Yeah.
plaque out there?
Yeah.
It said established 1970.
Okay. And then up at that was when you transferred from Alma Fire Station to Redwood Station, right?
Around that time.
Right around
Shortly
that time. Okay. All right.
Because they didn't have an engine or nothing up at Redwood Estates.
Right.
They still had volunteers.
That was a volunteers barn
yeah.
up there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Huh.
Then they finally put in the trailer and that
They
little
put in the
apparatus
trailer
room.
in the little apparatus room.
Yeah.
And then we moved permanently up to Redwood Estates,
Okay.
which was Central Fire.
Right.
That was about
And
71.
70. There's only two of us on.
Who was your first captain? Bowling? No.
A guy named Bill Hill.
That's right.
Big old fat dude. Nice guy, but he didn't know shit either.
It was kind of a
Training.
common theme around there, wasn't it? Captains that didn't know shit.
Most captains we had
You don't
didn't
know
know
shit,
shit,
ask Mellor.
including you.
Including me.
Shit ass Miller.
Go ask Mellor, he knows it all.
Exactly. How many captains you run out of that station?
I know.
I don't think I ever ran any out,
But they
but I went through a few of them.
They left on their own accord. Couldn't handle you.
No.
made them.
All the guys I worked with,
Yeah.
I got along with.
We did. They
Whether
just,
they're supervisors, they weren't really supervisors. They were just friends.
Yeah.
Firefighter friends is what they were.
they couldn't take the humor that long.
They got tired of laughing so much.
No kidding.
And they didn't have any state comp for laughing so much.
You're right.
And then that was Bill Hill. Then was it? Oh God, who was it that came up?
Then it was polling.
Then it was Poling. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a story.
Billy K. Hill, then there was Billy Poling. He worked for County Fire.
Tell us the story about.
Hell of a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hell
he's
of a
fun.
hell of a nice
He's a
guy.
fun guy. I only worked with him a couple times because I had to go up there when Jimmy True was either on vacation or something. I worked with you and Poling.
Yeah.
And Poling was the guy that would wear a white T-shirt
Yeah. Wear a white
and penny
t-shirt.
loafers on
Penny
calls.
loafers. That was his uniform.
And he'd go, okay, we're going to go run the boundaries. And I go, what the fuck is run the boundaries? And he'd just drive
Through the
everywhere.
whole district.
Yeah, just up and down 17.
And he was a bullshitter.
It's, oh my God.
So any place we go was bullshit.
That
Good times.
it was Poling.
A lot of time things
Then-
you forget.
Then I knew about Keith, and we kind of worked. And the next time I saw Keith, I was on the router doing something, and I don't know if you remember this. At the time, we were both runners, actually running when our bodies could go in the same direction.
You guys used to be able to run.
Yeah, we ran the
We
Bean
ran
Creek.
some race over in
Bean
Scotts
Creek,
Valley. Yeah.
Scotts Valley, Bean Creek run. I looked at him, and he looked over at me. He goes, "Hey, Mike, how's it going?" I go, "No, it's Bill." He goes, "Well, whatever your name is." I go, "Hey, I like this guy. So I just put my bid in, and nobody else wanted it.
Nobody wanted to work with Mellor.
Well, I don't know if it was that or if it was Julius Fergoli
I think they're just scared to work.
scared
in
to
the
work
mountains.
up there.
They're used to working in the municipal fire department downtown, and the mountains scared the hell out of them.
And it was that
yeah.
old dirty little trailer with a little
Yeah.
Smith Carlson black and white TV where you had to turn the rabbit ears to watch one
right.
channel. And it was fun. I walked
It
in.
was fun. We made it work. So
Keith said, "Yeah, well, welcome to Redwood. We'll see how it works." So we would play tennis most days, eat our lunch, and then about 5 o'clock take a shower, and his girlfriend would show up, my girlfriend would show up. We wouldn't see each other until the dorm at about 11 o'clock. First night, Keith goes, "I think I'm going to like you."
you're gonna fit in here just
Just
fine.
fine.
Uh,
So that was about
those were the old days.
77, 78, right?
okay.
But you worked with Jimmy True, who was a funny guy, too.
Yeah, I worked with Jimmy True.
He went to San Jose.
He went to San Jose.
Okay.
Real nice guy.
Yeah.
Motorcycle rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all good guys that could do their job. I
Good.
don't really think I ever really worked that I can think of now with anybody that really didn't know their job, you know.
Well, there's.
And that makes a crew if you know your job.
I'd like to get back to Ron Ford.
Well,
He promotes to captain and ends up as your captain at Redwood Station.
right around the early 80s, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He came in with all kinds of crazy ideas, wanting to donkey us around. He'd been working for 15 years. I was probably 10 or 12. He'd come in with, we'd both shake our heads. He was out one day in the driveway with a cardboard box, cutting windows out of it and little doors.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. We're gonna.
And he
have
goes,
a
we're going to
structure
have
fire.
a simulated fire drill
structure fire.
on a cardboard box.
Put a cardboard box on fire.
So we back the engine in. He goes, okay, I'm lighting the cardboard box on fire. Okay. I pull the engine. He's running the pump pedal. I pull the line. And he goes, okay, put it out. And I go, sorry, we have a pump failure. And I threw the hose down and the whole cardboard box burned up. He said, drill's over.
Oh shit.
Oh, God.
And then
Times that were.
there was a time when you guys got called down to headquarters.
Well, they wanted to give us accommodation medals.
So you thought. There are some perks to working at that station that other stations didn't really have, such as the battalion chief rarely came around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had a lower call volume, so there was plenty of time and opportunity to do your own personal projects.
Tennis and swimming.
Played a lot of tennis. The swimming pool was
across
just
the
across the
It
street.
was like a resort.
It was, yeah. Okay. When did you move up to Folsom, where you had a long commute?
Oh, it's when me and Julie got together. I can't think of the exact day I moved up here, but I met my wife in Susanville.
Oh,
I met Julie in Susanville.
Right.
okay. Yeah.
And then she moved down here, and then I was there. And
I can
we
almost
got
tell you.
we got together, and then we decided to move in together in Folsom.
That was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my kids, remember I brought my 2 kids up there? They were like 5 and 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're 45 and
It was a long
43.
time ago.
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
So in '85 was the Lexington fire,
wow.
which was in your back door in your first duo area. You guys weren't on duty that day, right? When it started,
He
I was
was-
on duty.
you were
I was on vacation in LA
in L.A.
with the
Okay.
Firefighters Olympics.
Ended up 14,000 acres, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was
He
big
was
deal.
first in.
First in. Okay.
Yeah, on the Lexington fire. And
Who was with you? Dennis Johnson?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was because my years with wildland firefighting. I knew it was going to be a good fire. It's what I'd waited for years, and here it was.
Yeah.
And it was a good fire.
Going right out of the barn, you could tell this
Oh, yeah.
is going to be
This is
rocking and
gonna be
rolling.
Rocking and rolling.
We're done.
Just
Where-
do
did
your,
you end
just
up
do
going-
your job.
Did you go to Soda Springs first? I can't remember where you drove to. Remember?
Someplace over there. I don't know.
Aldercroft Heights Road?
Aldercroft Heights, yeah.
Yeah.
Structure support.
And that ended up being a 3-week fire, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they phoned down to LA and said, all you guys come back. If you don't come back, you're fired.
You don't go back.
So I charged him overtime for the whole time I was coming back.
Oh, there you go.
And then him and I, because we knew Redwoods area, we worked 12-hour shifts at the station because they had a little Ben Lopes and another chief and everybody kind of running some up there. Remember that?
Yeah.
Was that where the first command post was?
Kind of
Before
for
they
the-
moved it down to
Well,
Vasona?
they had kind of 2 because they needed one up there and one down below it.
Like a forward command
So we
post.
just drove
Yeah.
around. Really didn't have to fight fire much after that.
No.
Keith goes, you got to come back. He says, you take the night shift and I'll take the day shift. And I go, okay. He's always giving me orders. But
Whatever.
they were good orders.
It worked.
They were good orders. I mean, that whole area was quite unique. All right, you got all these vehicle accidents on Highway 17. Right, you're by yourself. Really, it's your crew, and that's it. Your one engine for the first 10, 15 minutes of just about any incident. Right
Right.
up there. And then comes in '89 was the earthquake, Loma Prieta earthquake. Were you working on
No.
that night at
No.
all?
I think I was in Eagle Lake.
I think you were too.
Yeah, I was in
Okay.
Eagle Lake. I
All
wasn't
right.
there.
In '89, yeah, you were either on vacation or doing something.
But I wasn't there.
And I was I was off duty in Santa Cruz
Okay.
the night of.
Of the earthquake, yeah.
Yeah. So then I went back to the station in the morning. It was fun. It was crazy times. Then we didn't have water at the station for what, 2 months?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh yeah, you had to back the tanker up,
Tanker in.
and then every morning just to take a shower and to use the toilet,
Yeah.
you had to fire up the pump
Just to put water into the station
just to
so
go
the
to the
toilet
bathroom.
worked. Yeah, that's when we had 4 people up there, and that was when Patty Doler came up. Remember? Keith would wake up and say, "Patty, go start the tanker."
junior firefighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Wildland area up like that, and you had to kind of go on your own and invent your own path you're going to take. And if you got common sense, you can do it.
Yeah.
The ones that don't have common sense, they're either dead or not around.
I showed up at Redwood first day, and these two guys here had.
Were we in uniform?
Well, you were, yeah, and I had to make sure. Okay,
I had to make sure.
After working with the two knuckleheads at Monte Vista, I had to make sure that these guys knew who was the boss. So
That worked out well.
yeah,
Boss on.
first day I told them, okay, go check out the rig, and then after that we're going to sit down and have a meeting. And so we sat there, and I had typed out 5 or 6 bullet points of stuff I wanted to go over.
Bullet points.
Guys, you gotta
First
be
thing
here.
is load your gun.
You gotta be here on time, 8 o'clock. You gotta be here in uniform, ready to go to work. Put your gear on the rig, check out the rig before we have breakfast. Absolutely no pornography whatsoever in the station unless the captain reviews it first. And then you could just see that their
I looked at
shoulders
Keith
were all
and I
tense,
went,
and then he went,
"What
"Oh,
is
okay,
that?"
all right, I see
God.
where he's going." And then it just continued in that
So
realm.
we got a live one here. He's gonna work. He's gonna work out.
He'll be fine. We can
He'll be
train him
just
into
fine.
being a good captain. We won't have to buy him a parachute.
Yeah. But
It was just doing your job.
Yeah.
of course, but I knew you guys knew your job forwards and backwards. I wasn't there to tell you how to do your job. You knew it, and I told you right off the bat is, you give me 3 years. I want to learn everything you guys know. Give me 3 years, and then we can kind of relax.
You're still learning.
I'm still learning, yeah. But no, you guys taught me everything there was about Redwoods area. You knew the streets, you knew the hydrants, you knew which tanks always had water and which tanks didn't have water. And not only that, you knew the people.
Yeah, we knew that.
Yeah, we knew everybody.
And that's a
Yeah.
big asset.
That was a huge
Because
asset.
they trusted. They trust you.
Right.
It was a good time. We got along. We had our fun, and we did our job. That was the main thing.
We did a lot of calls.
And people knew it. People knew we knew how to do our job. So when people would come up there working, acting captains or captains, they didn't have to worry about anything.
Well, they wouldn't work there unless one of us was up there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
But it was.
all in all, it was a great life. Glad I had it.
Good career, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just a good life. We just all knew our job and got along and
Yeah.
did what we were supposed to do. It. That's what makes a good firefighter.
We had a bunch of calls on the freeway.
Highway to hell.
Highway to hell. Tell them about. You remember that?
Highway to hell.
Remember the 2 guys racing Corvettes?
We had a call. I don't know if you remember this or not. There was a young gal that was in this car that she crashed, and you climbed in the car and spent the entire time talking to her, bringing her down off the edge of anxiety kind of thing, and by the time the ambulance got there and she went away, she was nice and calm and everything, and I ended up giving you an honorary doctor in psychology.
That's right. I don't know
Dr.
where-
Keith.
I don't know where that's at. I remember that. Yeah.
Probably got burned up in the fire. Yeah, he did the same thing to me one time at Summit Road. The car, the gal was out, and it was raining, and we had one of those yellow blankets over and
Oh, yeah,
everything, and
right.
I'm in there, and he's doing everything, and he's talking, and she's talking back to him, and she goes, "You have angel eyes." I looked at him like that. And she looks at me and she goes, "Not you very much." I go, "Okay, she's your patient now." I go,
Right, angel eyes.
"Angel eyes."
Angel eyes.
Call him Angel Eyes. So
me
there
your
for
number.
about
Give
a
me your
year, I
number.
kept calling him Angel Eyes.
Give me your number.
So
We'll
how's
talk
it
about
go?
later.
How's it going, Angel Eyes?
Oh, Christ.
Jesus.
Okay,
Well, let's wrap it up till
Yeah.
the end of your career, real quick.
and
This is it.
No, you had got a few more
Yeah.
more years. When did you retire? 98?
98 or 99. I can't remember.
okay,
It was somewhere.
something like that.
Hurt his back.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
But-
I say, I had 30 years on. It was a good life. And I worked with some great guys. Still have all the memories.
We were basically family. You know, we're living in the house together. We're cooking and eating and sleeping together. But we also spent a lot of time off duty, doing fun things.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Singing, "We are family."
But you two more than me, like, because a lot of your off-duty times happened before I arrived. But you guys did a lot of hunting, a lot of fishing.
Yeah. We used,
Yeah.
we used to duck hunt out of Milpitas, pheasant
Yeah.
hunt.
Yeah.
We were into
Right
the
there.
outdoors and had our own boat, and it just worked out great that we worked together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
we
were all together. It was
we'd get
great.
off duty and had a little boat and go out and duck hunt. But he'd always say, "Let's get a plug sandwich and a jug." I go, "Well,
What kind of
how
jug?"
big a jug is it?" He goes, "Well, it's morning. We should get brandy." I go, "Okay." We'd be out in the boat, the duck, and all of a sudden we'd kill a fifth of brandy and have a plug sandwich. Both of us would be asleep in the boat out in the blind. I woke up one time and there must have been 100 mallards all around us, and I go, "We should duck hunt now."
We should shoot.
We should shoot those things. That's why we're out here. And then he goes, one of those trips we're coming back in and he's driving this little tiny 12-foot boat and there's some ducks down a little canal and he spins the boat like that and wants to run it up on shore. And he goes as fast as he can, runs it up on shore, but he forgot about the wake coming behind us. The wake came behind us and the whole boat sank and the motor's underwater still running. I go, "This isn't good. We're out in the middle of the bay." All our shit's floating all over the thing, and I go, "Oh, God." We found the toolbox, drug the boat up. Remember that? Do you kind of remember that?
Yeah.
We said, "Oh, shit, what are we going to do?" He says, "Well, let's just pull apart."
Drain the water.
We pulled the spark plugs out, pulled it a bunch of times, put the plugs back in. First pull, it started up, and I go, "You know what?
God.
There's a reason why we got
You're
good
one-
karma. And I
you're
don't know
one
why,
lucky.
but we searched around for all. We had dead ducks floating all over the water and shit. I said, "Don't do that again." It damn near threw me off the front of the boat into the tulies.
One of the other things you guys did on your days off was the firefighters rodeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I helped with the firefighters rodeo.
Yeah.
What events in the rodeo did you guys usually do?
We did the steer wrestling.
Yeah.
Which was what? Did you have to chase the steer on horse?
No, just
Run?
chase it down, grab its horns, and turn it over, and that's when the time
What they
was
did
up.
is they put you in the chute with the
Boom shoot.
steer, and then open the chute, and that steer would run
You're
out.
getting
You'd be
drugged by
You're getting drugged out. Well, when it first started, we did bull riding, but guys were getting
yeah.
broken arms and broken legs all the time. So they said, "Okay, you guys can't do bull riding anymore. We got to come up with a different sport."
Stick to steer.
But it was, all you won for the whole thing is a little silver buckle.
That was it.
That was it. But
Yeah.
he did it. I did it.
That was fun. We were into rodeoing at the time.
Just before Ford died, he was giving us all kinds of stupid orders and stuff. And so finally he says, he got mad at both you and I. And he says, "I got to tell you something. I'm the brains and you're the arms." Okay.
Don't ever tell them that.
It's the wrong thing.
Okay.
So that night we get a call, pull right out in the apparatus room, and I slam the brakes on, put the emergency brake on. He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "You're the brains. I'm the arms. Which way are we going?" He didn't know where the call was. I said, "Okay, brains." And he pipes up in the back. He says, "If you want to be the brains, why don't you be an octopus and go to Cupertino? There's 8 guys there."
I forgot about that.
Why don't you go to Cupertino? I thought, oh my God, where did he come up with that?
Mellor was well known for giving people nicknames. You always had a nickname for somebody.
Yeah.
And you called me what?
Taduto.
Taruto. I don't know where that came from or why, but
That's right.
You started calling me Psycho Billy Cadillac. Psycho Billy.
Calling the Lord Willem.
The Lord Willem or
And
Psycho
the Lord
Billy.
Willem.
my entire career there, everybody who knew you guys, everybody who worked with you guys, always said that you know, as much as you guys yucked it up and laughed and joked and everything, the one thing that everybody could always count on is that you guys knew your job.
That's right.
And you did it, and you did it well.
I just like to say that I appreciate my buddies coming up that I work with on the fire department. I appreciate you, Justy. I knew you as a little kid, and you look like you've developed into a nice young man. And just to say that I did it my way. I have no regrets. I was a firefighter. I lived in the mountains. I lived at Eagle Lake. I fished. I hunted. I have no regrets whatsoever. And I got the greatest friends in the world.
That's great.
And pass me some ammunition. Pass me some ammo.